Yes, now, and welcome back to episode 126 of the Top Loaded Podcast. And this is the London Car Show review after an absolute stellar weekend at Sandown Racecourse for the London Car Show, which was an absolute spectacular show. And my personal opinion, we're going to talk about it soon. I think it's the best one yet to date. And before I introduce, obviously, our very special guest, my roommate for the London Car Show. And that's a massive thanks yet again to Third Down to Space for powering up this episode of the Top Loaded Podcast. So if you need any supply needs at all, from top loaders to stands to mats to backballs, whatever it may be, they will have you covered. Even if you're on some Winnie the Pooh Saturday morning club, they have boxes of that available as well. So if you purchase anything at all, use TTP10 at checkout to save 10% off. And obviously introducing my roommate from the weekend for this London Car Show, the one and only Mr. Lavender. Love Breaks. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm pretty tired after a long weekend, but got an easy week at work this week, so it's a bit of a almost like it lined up perfectly. But yeah, I'm good. Hope you're all right as well.
I was going to say, it's one of them, you work all week and then you end up at a car show, which is actually most of the time busier than your actual work. It's just crazy. But before we go into details, just generically, that was some show. What a weekend that was.
Oh yeah, it's quality. I'm sure we're going to say it in a bit, but it was one of the best ones we've had, I think, in the UK for a long time. Yeah, I mean, coming straight from work on Friday, straight into the hotel, straight on the beers. Yeah, from then on, I knew it was going to be a quality.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, with over time, we've slowly made not just. I think a lot of people, the first time they go, just kind of they travel up the Saturday morning and they travel back the Saturday night if they're only doing one day. But when you make a whole weekend of it, it's a fantastic experience. Like you say, go up there the Friday afternoon, then Saturday, obviously, just chill, talk, meeting other collectors and other people going to show the Friday in the hotel. Saturday morning, up early. Some people had an extra half hour in bed. Some people were swimming. Some crazy idiot, some swimming. And then, like I say, getting to the show early to set up as a vendor. It's such a great experience and it just shows you that it goes strength to strength. But we did upgrade hotels this time. So before we talk about the actual card show, it's just, don't you agree that it's not just the card show, it's the whole experience that really makes that weekend?
Yeah, my favourite part of the hobby in general is the shows and the aspect of. Let me try again. The shows and the social aspect of it all. That's my favourite part of the hobby. It wouldn't even have to do with cards. It could be, we could deal with watches or something and still have as much fun. It's the social. I just love the social aspect of the people.
I was going to say, like, going on to Saturday now, obviously setting up, you've all set up by 8:45. Obviously, people, like, general admission comes in at 9. VIP is 9. General admission is 9:30 or 10. I can always get them two times mixed up. But it's just, even then, before the show starts, it's fantastic just to see all these familiar faces that you probably talk to so much. But you really, most of the time, you only see each other maybe every month or so. Most of the people, maybe every 3 months. So, like that community aspect that you're mentioning there, it's on show before you even get to the actual show. It's just fantastic. Obviously, we've set up next to, obviously, Dub Breaks, obviously, Clinical and GBW, which is always a good laugh with the boys. Obviously, and Ben Morley joined as well this time. So it was a core group of us, which was making it an even better experience for us. But obviously, we had Dan, we had JJJ on behind us as well, just that community, just talking to each other. But them days do go quick at them shows because you look around and it's like 2:00 already.
Yeah, especially the Saturday.
Yeah,
the Saturday, I think up until 2 was pretty manic, pretty continuous sales, constantly talking to people. That was the busiest part, I think, of the whole weekend, up until sort of what you said about 2:00.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I remember, like, it seems that it's just like a constant flow of people. And I think it was speculated that it was going to be about 5,000 people over the weekend. I knew it was 2,500 on Saturday, but you very rarely see the same face twice, it seems like. I know there's so many people that you can't remember everyone, but it does seem like you say hello to someone, then it's someone else, and then it's someone else, even if they're just wandering past or you're walking around. There's just so many different people to meet. And I've really thought that with this show. Obviously, it was a shame there were some familiar faces that sad weren't there because other, like, especially this time of year with holidays, with family, with other commitments after the national. But it did seem like there was quite a healthy amount of new faces as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who I've maybe spoke to online or have sold to who I hadn't met before, who I met at the show, as well as people who just literally met at the show for the first time. So it's building that community even stronger.
Yeah, like I said, I think speaking from that community aspect, it's one of them that you slowly build relationships with people, whoever it may be, and every show it gets stronger. Like I think, like you see someone, it's like, I always say it's like when I used to go gym quite a bit of. You'd see someone 2 or 3 times, you might just be like, "You all right? How you doing? You all right, mate?" Like that. But then after you see them maybe at 3 or 4 shows, and you start talking to them, and then you realise you've got so much in common with them that you just stop. You literally just talk all the time to them, which is it's great. Like it's like, for example, I don't even. We need to name our group now. We should go round in with it. But like the crew of people that we was with it's like from all different walks of life. Obviously, some people knew each other from an earlier age, but it's so good when you can go to these shows, especially like the Saturday. And obviously, HA joined us on Sunday. That you know you're going to be there. You know you're going to have a good time. But most importantly, it is cardboard at the end of the day, and obviously it helped with certain new releases like Topps Chrome, obviously Copper America Prism, to name a couple. Obviously on the football side, obviously on the other sports side, it's something I'll get into when we talk about the Sunday. But even that, obviously, the temptation to go over to Jamie's store, obviously, is a massive one to go and buy wax. It's very tempting. I think we all give in to temptation at one point, but you have to enjoy yourself at these shows.
Yeah, that's the main thing. If you're not enjoying your hobby, then it's not really a hobby, is it? You see it as a chore. And you're saying about going over and getting boxes. I done so well on Saturday not to buy anything. Didn't buy a card. So I was just like, this show, I'm going to take it easy because I always go pretty hard at the shows. And then as soon as we walk into trade night, bang, straight away bought 2 boxes. That's just... I'd done all right the day, so I could do it, but yeah, we all saw how those went.
Yeah, but it's one of them with boxes. Obviously, it's so unpredictable, but it's the thrill of ripping it. That's the whole aspect of it. You don't know what's in the pack. Obviously, our good friend GW put out his YouTube video today of what he hit in one of his Copa America boxes. So if you haven't seen it, I would recommend you heading over to his YouTube channel to check out, because it was a monster hit. Of all the boxes that I see ripped at the weekend, there were some very nice cards. There was Pele National Landmarks, Hendrick National Prides, all of these type of cards. There's got a load of golds flowing, greens flowing that I see. And then, obviously, he's Paul Saint today, so I recommend go over to his YouTube, check it out. But in terms of the card aspect, obviously, you were set up as a vendor on Saturday. You had a corner plot by a lovely door which had a nice breeze all day long, which was fantastic to have. But how did you find it go for a vendor? Obviously, the Saturday being, most people call it the busier day. How was the experience for you?
Saturday is always pretty hectic, to be honest. I've only vended at the last 2 card shows myself, London, that is. The last 2 London card shows. And the Saturday is so manic. It's constant and it does wear you out. And that's why we always go sort of big on the Friday night rather than the Saturday, because I think everyone's knackered by then. But the Saturday's better definitely for selling. If you're doing, like, if you want to sell a lot of quantity, Saturday's definitely a better one. Sunday's better for quality, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I say, I think, like we say, the Friday night's obviously a good one for yourself, but Saturday's great show. There's cards available. Obviously, quite a number of the vendors will vend the Saturday and Sunday, so a lot of them will have a similar inventory Saturday to Sunday, so there's more chance of finding them cards on a Saturday. However, new cards do pop up, new vendors do pop up for the Sunday as well, which is fantastic. Obviously, it was good to see so many familiar faces with stalls. Football Cards Direct, obviously, Kelly and Paul had a fantastic setup, as they always do, with trying to tempt you in on so many cards, whether it was Arsenal Forever to Topps Chrome to cricket to GB. Like the range of cards they have is fantastic. Seeing so many cards you don't see anywhere else, which is always a good one. Obviously, the boys at Third Down had a fantastic stand. Mix of everything from obviously your card cleaning through to your singles, what they're selling now, obviously in preparation for their shop opening. And then there's so many, right? There's signed football shirts. Obviously, even though people say obviously about the TCG, I have no interest in it, but I do quite enjoy still looking around and seeing what's on offer. But it did seem there was quite a lot of range of stuff available in terms of there were some tables that were dealing in higher end stuff. There was some that was solely like flick throughs. There was some that was a mixture of slabs and raw, some just slab. But it really does seem that the market is really, people know where to focus their attention to now, rather than kind of was at one point like a copy and paste, I would say, of everyone kind of had the same table and it never always worked out for everyone. But this show seemed like all the vendors said they had their best show of all time, near enough, in terms of sales in the UK.
Yeah, there's definitely a big shake-up in how it was laid out in terms of who was where rather than the actual layout.
Yeah.
And it really seemed to hit off well because I know most of the people I spoke to had their best show, like you just said. I had one of my best shows, definitely my best London card show. And yeah, it was quality being in front of the doors on that Saturday because it was pretty hot.
Yeah, like I say, there's loads of people in there, and it does ramp up the temperature. And obviously, Martin, we spoke to as well, card sales, he put a brilliant story out on his Instagram saying literally from opening of Saturday to close on Sunday, he was always had people in front of his table. Got to admit, when you look at Martin's table, it is spectacular. It's got some of the best stuff on it, whether it's kabooms, color blasts, short print autos, golds, case-its, whatever it may be, you will have it, which is always a great one to see. And it's even quite nice now because there's even some of the biggest sponsors are really showing interest in it. And one person who I was fortunate enough to meet, who I really wanted to meet for quite a while now in hobby, was Randolph, who was there. And I think some people obviously in the media spotlight like him, especially in the YouTube and like social media world, probably would have popped in for a couple of hours and then gone, yeah, see you later. But obviously he is one of the fans of Ace Grading, obviously, who are one of the chief sponsors of the London Card Show. And I thought it was fantastic to see him walking around all day Saturday and Sunday to show that how committed he is to it. Obviously, I see him always walking around here. I'm sure he always had something in his hand as well. He always had a pack or something in his hand. So it looked like he was having good fun. So it'd be interesting to see his vlog, which just gone live for the show. But don't you think it's great to see now that obviously we've had it in the past, like the man on the shirt in your background, Tossin's been there before, Ben Mee, you had Bradley Dack, Ben Brereton Diaz. On Sunday this time, we had Amari Bell who plays for Luton. So having all of these people in the spotlight who want to come along to the show, it's just great to see. And who knows who would be that next media image sports person that might come along to a show.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think people like have the respect for people that have like a big following, and they give them the space that they like need. So to be able to come to the show and not be absolutely mobbed is probably quite a nice thing for them. And yeah, I mean, to have like footballers and big YouTubers come to the show is pretty mental, in my opinion. And yeah, I think you just got to say hats off to Harry. He's made it so big that he's got celebrities there now.
Yeah, I was going to say, Harry and the team, they pull out the stops every time. We always have a little question. How does it get better? But it always manages to get better. So obviously, the next show's in November. No doubt they've got something spectacular planned for that. We're going to try and get Harry on in about a month or so time to look back and then to look forward as well. Obviously, it's been a busy period as well. He was a guy that he couldn't get on the show, but obviously he was very busy at the National and other things altogether, which was great. But obviously, turning attention to Sunday as well. Sunday was a great day as well. It was a good pickups day. It was a good selling day, good trade day as well. I remember I haven't done a full weekend before, so this was the first time experiencing the whole thing. And it was so clear before, because I remember going to Sunday and I thought, wow, this is dead. Like, it's quite quiet. It kind of emptied out by like 1 o'clock. There weren't much deals getting done, but it was so busy yet again on the Sunday. It was full of people from 9 a.m. through to 4 p.m. There was loads of deals getting done. The main stage was always busy when there's stuff on it. Obviously, you had all the stuff at the kids' zone, the raffles. Obviously, the Showtime Wayne Rooney giveaway, like box 1 of 1. You had the shoe stuff as well. So, do you think as well now that obviously we've got to a capacity on both days, it sells out, but how good is it to see? Yeah,
Make
and
it bigger and bigger.
obviously, yeah, obviously, well, it definitely is. On the Saturday is mob 2,500 capacity. Sunday's at capacity as well of around that. I don't know if they did have everyone attend who was meant to turn up, but when I first, like I was just saying it, when I first went to Sunday show, and it was quite a few shows ago. I haven't been able to do a Sunday for quite a while. It's been like, it was quite quiet. But I was thoroughly impressed of how much the hobby now actually enjoys the Sunday as well. From 9 o'clock when it opened to near enough 4 o'clock, it was still very busy. Obviously, I know you've experienced a lot more Sundays at the London Car Show than I have personally, but that's definitely seen the growth as well of people actually coming Sunday as well, and it being as good as a Sunday as Saturday.
Yeah. Everyone always says that Sunday you do the bigger deals, which I think is true. Because you have more time, where there's less people, so you have more time to sort of get away from your table, have a look around, and then you might go to someone, do you fancy doing a trade? I did a trade on Sunday, even, with the person sitting next to us. And Sunday's definitely for the more quality if you're going around and selling. Whereas I think if you want to move on like loads of cards, and Saturdays are better.
I think another thing as well was quite cool about the Sunday and the aspect of it is you might see something on the Saturday and you might not necessarily, you've seen it, but you might not be 100% committed of buying it on the Saturday. And you're like, let me see what else comes up, potentially Saturday, the trade night, or potentially Sunday as well. I remember when I was looking at the Football Cards Direct store on Saturday, I did see their little bit of cricket. When I mean little bit, they had like 8 cards down. I was like, oh, that's cool. Didn't go through their flick through the Saturday, but then through the Sunday I did. We'll talk about pickups in a minute. But even that whole experience, it does bring a new dynamic into it going both days, which I would like to experience a lot more, but probably been, for me, probably the summer show outside of football season. But obviously we've done some lovely business. And talking about the show in general though, it was, I don't know, from start to finish, I know we've briefly mentioned it all before. It was my favourite show I've ever been to, especially London Card Show wise. It was an absolute blast both days. Staying as well the Friday night and Saturday night, making the whole experience of it just added to it. And even on the Sunday, we actually didn't even leave the Esher area till about 8 o'clock. We went for a beer afterwards just to cool down and chill. Then went to some lovely food. Obviously, all the ones we was with, and also obviously Dan as well. That was Dan who was obviously it's always a pleasure to have a car show with him. But obviously for you, like experience, I know we've said it was our favourite show, but it's going to be hard to beat. But then again, I don't put it past the London Card Show to beat our expectations somehow in the November show.
So I didn't hear that. You cut out loads.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? I was just saying that the November show is obviously going to have some beating because this show was fantastic. But what are they going to have? It's going to be something special to top this one up. Obviously, it was the first time I properly experienced both days of the London Card Show. So seeing the Saturday and the Sunday play out was rather intriguing. And being such a good show, I'm finding it hard in my head to try and work out how it gets better from there. Obviously, the upstairs is at capacity near enough for tables. How it's all laid out is so good. They've moved tables around to have like sports dedicated areas, Yu-Gi-Oh designated areas, Pokemon designated. But for me and you, it's not easy to work out now where they go from here to make it better. I don't know whether they're potentially looking the long run at a different venue, maybe for size. But Sandown's such a great location, but the team's going to have to pull something out to keep getting bigger and better, which they normally do at every show.
Oh yeah. Remember some of the first London card shows at Sandown, we had the downstairs bit instead of the upstairs bit. Maybe using that as well as the upstairs could be a bit of what would be the word? would be a bit of a growth for the show. Or like you said, relocating maybe into London, maybe like Central London XL Arena. I don't know how easy that would be to get, or how. Don't know too much about it, but I know it's a big venue.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is hard to see where it goes because it is a big show and it's pretty good as it is at the moment. I mean, they always say don't. What's the saying? Don't break what you can't. Don't fix what's not broken or something.
Yeah. No, you got it right in the end. Don't worry. But no, I think you're spot on there. It's such a good formula at the moment. It's such a winning formula that if you do potentially move location, you could lose that aspect of the show. It's such a different kind of room. Obviously, I know all the big shows in America, but these are the American shows we're talking where they can be up to 10, 15, however much thousand people. These are in the big exhibition centres, but that's just such a different feel. They're so tall, they're so wide, they're so big, they're so spacious that you would need a lot of people in it not to feel quiet and empty. So it's going to be intriguing. Obviously, we can't wait for early November for the next show. Hopefully, like I say, if everything goes to plan, we'll be there again. But I know we've referred to pickups and trades and whatever it may be so far. It was a successful weekend for picking up some new bits, whether it was, like you say, you trading yourself. I picked up my first ever PSA submission, which come back, which was about 4 years too late because it shouldn't have taken this amount of time. But I'll start with a new PC that has been formed. It went from one strength to another. It started with 3 cards, and now it's got about 15 cards in it. And I'm partly blaming Third Down Displays for this one. But also I'm very much blaming myself because obviously it's a bit of a niche PC. Obviously not many people would be as interested in it. But for me, I'm a massive cricket fan, especially England cricket, test matches, T20s, one day internationals, whatever it may be. And recently Topps did launch the ECB range, which had men's and women's players in it. And Football Cards Direct had a brilliant selection of the cards. There was one card in particular that caught my eye straight away, which there was someone else trying to get as well via Instagram, but I managed to be at the show. I managed to get the deal done, so I was very happy for that one. But I'm just going to run through. So obviously a lot of people be like, who are these people? I've never heard of them. And I expect that because it's a very niche thing. But what the cards I picked up for Football Cards Direct was a lovely Harry Brook auto to 49, a Johnny Bairstow to 49, then some really nice ones. Some people might have heard of some of these names coming up in a minute after this one because they're quite legendary and thing. Had a nice Ollie Pope to 25, and then here come the legends of English cricket in my eyes. A James Anderson to 25, a Joe Root to 10, and then the one that I was most pleased to pick up, a Ben Stokes to 5. Obviously, a lot of people don't know about cricket, and a lot of people don't care. Fair. Like I say, everyone's got their own thing. I do like a bit of cricket. And then, close of the show Sunday, I thought, I had 2 cards out. And I was like, I've been trying to sell one of these for a while. And I was like, let me see if I can get a deal done. So I had a stack of Pitch Kings, which I had valued at around 350, but I think they've been comping around 300, 330, 400. So I was like, let me go over to my favourite table in the world, which is just full of lovely wax and cardboard. So I spoke to them, and they was interested in the card, and we struck a deal for 3 boxes of the England cricket set. So there was another 9 cards coming my way. So I'm not going to run through these ones, but for the people watching, I'll just flick through on screen. But there's such a lovely card set that, that's the new PC. So obviously people was looking at me sideways when I was picking up cricket stuff, but that's the whole fun about the card show, Lab, that certain things you might not have seen before, actually, then you see them in person, you're like, yeah, I really like them. But also, could be card sets that you've collected before, Donruss, Chrome, Sapphires. You see them in person, you go, you know what, I wouldn't actually mind adding that to the collection.
Yeah. You can't knock anyone for what they collect. At the end of the day, you collect what you love and all that. That everyone says. But I collect Wesley Fofana, and he hasn't played a Chelsea game competitively for the last 2 years. So I don't have a leg to stand on to go to say, cricket's boring or anything. But I quite like the cricket, and I recognise a few names from it. So yeah, I think it's all quite cool, really.
Yeah, no, I remember you just said there that you got a trade done as well at your table. So obviously, like, what was it involving? Like, how many cards did you give up? How many did you get in return?
So I gave up 2 cards, and I think there's a little bit of cash, not much. And I picked up 3 slabs, all PSA 10. Of that. I got an Enzo Fernandez. Maybe get some light in there. Enzo Fernandez, breakaway blue. That's 99 PSA 10. We've also got another Enzo to 49. Rookie card, this one. From Donmas, out of 49. Blue PSA 10. And then Mudrik's rookie, true rookie, I believe, to 99. A card that was once at silly money. Yeah. PSA 10. All in the trade for my De Bruyne stained glass and a Bellingham to 50, I think it was. Just 2 cards that they're not on my PC. I'm happy to move them on to get a few PC items, and I was happy to make that trade.
I was going to say, that's another thing that's really started creeping into the UK scene, and it is trading, whether it's part trade, straight trade, whatever it may be. It does. A lot of people don't mind giving up a card if they're getting cards in exchange. Like, there's some cards for me personally. I've done a trade as well, which is the perfect timing to talk about that one. I traded some of my 5 or 6 women's cards that someone needed for a lovely Wendy Renard purple sapphire to 15. So, like I say, I remember, especially downstairs, for 100%, but also the first couple of the upstairs show as well there, trading was still kind of not frowned upon, but I don't think people were just confident enough yet to trade. But definitely now it's a big thing of, I'm interested in this guy. Do you trade? If not, some people still buy the card, but some people do really prefer to trade their stuff.
Yeah, I haven't really done many trades, but I can think of a couple in my head that I've done before the show. But this show is the most I've done probably for the rest of the hobby that I've been in it combined. So to do that many trades and come off, I think I've come off pretty well in most of them because I've got PC items, and that's what you collect. Like, rather than cards that I may have picked up randomly or hitting breaks. I'm so much happier with the cards I've got now to what I had before. So
I was going to say, despite your one of your mega packs only springing a Paraguayan number 2 goalkeeper, Blue Pulsar, funny enough, I might be the only person in the world, well, especially in the UK, who's probably not been born in Paraguay that actually wanted a lovely Carlos Coronel. And I generally do admit, I think these Copa America cards are absolutely spectacular. I think it's one of the nicer releases they've done in Prism recently. But it's such a nice set that obviously quite a few people had ripped it. But was there any other pickups from yourself over the weekend?
Yeah, all my pickups were from trades. That's what I love about this show. Another one here is got to get a light back. Got to get the Thiago Silva to 5 green breakaway. And I actually swapped it for another Thiago Silva that I had on my table. It was a to 10 tops now. I had a slight mark on it, so I was quite happy to let it go for that. So they got the out of 10 and they gave me a bit of cash on top of the out of 5. But I was quite happy to do that because the out of 10 Thiago Silva actually hit myself from tops. So it wasn't that what do you say?
Attached.
No, not attached, but like I hadn't spent a lot of money on it, is what I meant. So.
Oh yeah, you wasn't in for it for much.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, I wasn't very in for it for much, so I was quite happy to move that on in order to get a Prism, because Prism's my favourite set. I actually really love the greens.
It's a stunning card.
Not as much as the R25s, but I do come partial for a bit of green.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think when you do trade it, as that, just you can be in for a card at a lower price, and it works out a lot more cost effective to trade away a card. That was similar to the Saka that I had, but it was time for my first PSA sub to return, and I'll run through it quickly for the people looking. I've made a promise to myself that I will start uploading more on Instagram, so these cards will be seen on Instagram very soon because it is quite derelict on there at times. But the first sub come back, it was obviously a mix. It was mixed between Chrome and Sapphire, and for anyone who knows, well, Chrome in general and Sapphire in general, but especially women's one, it's very hit and miss. But all of these are PC items that I didn't really mind. Obviously, you want 10s, but like for example, this first one come back at 8, but it was a Kim Little red color match to 5. So like that, you're not even complaining. And then it was up as a variation gold. Georgia Stanway come back an 8. Yeah, getting there very hard to grade. A couple of 9s come back. A lovely Puteas orange Queens of Football in a 9, which I'm very happy to have that one. And then a Ada Hegerberg orange crowning moments. And then here come the 10s. Starting with a lovely dual auto of Viviana Miedemar and Stina Blackstenius. That was probably the biggest one to pop as a 10. But then my two favourite ones. First of all, starting with the Sapphire Selections, Wendy Renard to 25. And I think that's one of the best parallels that they've done across the men's and women's Champions League format. And then a lovely to 25 fierce Beth Mead case at Gemington as well. So over the moon with that one. Finally, I can no longer people can say, do your sub. It's been done. All right, it's finally done. I've given in to the peer pressure. But is there anything else you had your eye on over the weekend or you was thinking about? Or was it one of them that it's one of them what just presented itself to you rather than going out and finding it?
Yeah, the next pickup I've got is one that I got in another trade. This is a trade night actually with Jake, 90s Collector Cards. He had a little flick through my case to see what he could find. I was flicking through his, picked out a few cards that I liked. He picked out a few cards he liked, and eventually we got a deal done between he had got a Hazard out of 5, I think it was, finest in a Real Madrid kit, so that's red out of 5, and the other card was a Nkunku, the one with the flag in the back. What's that one called? National. The same as the Endrick from
National Pride.
National Pride, that's it. From World Cup Prism, which is quite a nice card to be fair. He got those two, and I picked up a Nobility PSA 10 Zola to 99, which I think that's such an incredible looking card.
Yeah,
I had my on it before he graded it. I think he had it in his case before Raw, and when I saw it in the 10, I was like, I gotta get that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of them cards that do a lot better in the UK in comparison to US, and the prices switch quite a lot, but that's a stunning card. And then there's one last pickup from me, which is one of the jewels in the crown, so to speak, of the PC now. And a very good friend of mine now reached out a couple of weeks ago saying he was coming over from the Netherlands with his family. He was setting up a table. His name's Mark, and it's absolutely fantastic to meet him. Lovely to see someone who's got their family involved in the hobby. He was telling me how him and his daughter collect all the Dutch women's players, and they had this card, and he said that it's going to be available. It was the first one of one, I think the only one of one they had in their collection, which I felt quite bad for. But we did strike a deal for enough. Like I say, he sent me a lovely message as well, saying he was very happy that it went to me, which was this Stina Blackstenius one of one from Knockout. PSA 9, which with one of ones, it doesn't matter about the grade, but very fortunate to have my second Stina Blackstenius one of one to the PC, and that's what the card shows are all about. It's having the story behind the cards. Of this card was in the Netherlands. The guy listens to the podcast as well, which even then, just meeting someone who listens to the podcast in the Netherlands is absolutely mind blowing and fantastic. But then to think about bringing this card along with his family, then getting the deal done. It's just one of them that this card will never leave my PC, and it'll always have that story attached with it. And I know you agree with me, we've spoken about this before, but you can really build like a card story with some of these cards, and it might be a pound flick through card, or it might be someone gave you just out of nothing. But when some of these stories are attached with cards, it just means so much more, some of these cards, than just the piece of cardboard. But the actual how you got the card, who you got it from, where it's been, it's fascinating. Some of these pieces of cardboard have been all around the world, and now they're in your possession.
Yeah, I've got a certain card that I believe I've told you the story about the Enzo Fernandez museum patch that I probably shouldn't tell online, but it has a hell of a story behind it between me and Jack GBW. And I won't sell that now, I don't think. Not unless someone else is silly money. But with the way Chelsea are going at the moment, I think I'm pretty safe to be keeping it at the moment. But Yeah, a card can have a lot of sentimental value and still stay with you, and yeah, it means a lot.
I was going to say that's the perfect word for it. And we hear it a lot from different content creators who try and get deals done with people. And they say the card value might be your fiver, but the sentimental value could be unlimited. It might be priceless. So that's another great thing of you remember where you picked these cards up. You remember the story behind them. And like you say, it's even like ones low as these, like this Carlos Coronel, you've gave it to me. I'll never get rid of it. There's probably no one who's going to buy it anyway. But second of all, it's still nice like to have them stories attached to the cards. And like I say, it was an absolute pleasure of the card show experience to share it with the people. Obviously, the cards as well. Harry and the team absolutely killed it. We can't wait to see the next one. But before we obviously end this episode, there was some leaks. Well, not even leaks. Topps actually posted a video tonight. And this is the only set I'm going to talk about this week on the London Car Show Review, as it's normally solely for it. But I think it's a great little talking point for 5 minutes just to end off this one. Topps Dynasty for soccer is near enough coming. They've put out a teaser video of a 1-of-1 Messi, which then pans to another 1-of-1 Messi, that pans to another one, another one, another one, another one, another one, another one, another one. So if that is all in the Messis, which are 1-of-1s, there is 9 Messi 1-of-1s. However, I think there will be dual autos, potentially triple autos, but I don't think triple. I think there'll be dual autos as well. So there could be more than 9 Messi 1-of-1s. Obviously, Dynasty's not one of these print runs. It's going to be to 299. It's going to be lower print, all on card, all match worn patches, and that's why it's taken so long. So when people do look at this set, it's not technically it's not a 2023-2024 product. There will be certain rookies in there who are no longer rookies, but of what you've seen so far, which is very, very little, obviously the teaser, Ronaldo, our 9 pictures, now the Messi's, it's going to be a fantastic release, but Dynasty is very, very high risk, very, very high reward.
Yeah, I mean, it's a set that Chelsea are in, I believe. So that's always a plus, being that we weren't in the Champions League or any European competition last season. But yeah, it does look quality, doesn't it? So to have it's going to have a lot of chase cards and it's going to have a low print run. So it should be pretty quality. And from what we've heard around the vine, or whatever they saying and stuff for that, around the grapevine, it sounds like it's going to blow us out of the water.
I was going to say, like I said, we don't know who's going to be in the set. We don't know what the checklist is going to be like. Like you say, Chelsea are going to be involved. Funny enough, it could be Chelsea involved for the Champions League and Arsenal involved for the Europa League, which could be quite intriguing. But were these signed a year and a half ago? Could it be like a Kai Havertz for Chelsea, a managed amount for Chelsea? Hopefully they have gone more Legends routes for your boys because it's the turnaround. But then again, it could be the same for Arsenal. It could be a player that has departed the club now. So that's going to be very intriguing when the checklist comes out. And that's going to be a whole episode in itself when Dynasty comes out, because that's going to be a fantastic one to be watch ripped, but also to analyse the checklist, because it's going to be interesting. We've seen dual patch Messi badges, the Champions League badge to the Barcelona badge. We've seen half the PSG logo, so we know he's got PSG and Real Madrid. PSG and Barcelona, and this means does R9 have Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Barcelona, AC Milan? Is he going to be for 4 teams? Is Ronaldo going to be in it for Man United, Juventus, Real Madrid? So that's something we're going to see. But like I say, it's going to be a good release. It's going to be very intriguing. But if F1 Dynasty has taught us anything, there's going to be some stinky boxes out there where someone's probably going to get something like a Joao Felix to 49, which might go for 40 quid. But then someone's going to pull the 1-of-1 R9 and probably get 15 grand for it. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one. But I can tell you something, I won't be buying into breaks for that one.
Nah, I say I won't be now, but I believe it's Enzo Madric's rookie year. I think it's that year with Garnacho. I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but I think it's that year. So if it is, I might have to dabble a bit, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be big money. Like you said, high risk, high reward. Yeah, what is there else to say? It's going to be huge.
Yeah, like I say, it's going to be a fantastic release, and that's one of them that we are looking forward to hearing more information when it does come available. Obviously, now it is coming into a lot more releases. Obviously, Premier League season is back in a week and a half, which is fantastic. But Immaculate is around the corner, Impeccables around the corner, Bonmati sets around the corner, Women's Chromes around the corner, Dynasties around the corner. You've got Paddock Club for F1. You've got all of these sets that are coming. There's a lot of sets coming, and with the hype of the new season as well, it's going to be a quite intriguing time. But like we say, it was an absolute blast weekend. Obviously, a massive thank you yet again for every single person who did come up to myself or Harry or Lav or GBW, whoever it was, talking about the podcast. Like I say, the feedback's been turned in. It's funny, they're letting off fireworks outside my house. They must have heard this. It's quite funny. But like I say, it's a brilliant show. It's so hard to put a number on a card show out of 10 because I don't like scoring things out of 10 because I probably would have said the last one was a 9.5, and now I'd probably say the last one was an 8.5, and this was a 9. So I'm gonna just say, fantastic show. Harry, Katie, and the team, congratulations for another big show. We can't wait to see it in November. I know if we can be there, we will be there. Obviously, there's quite a lot of other shows as well in between, so check out your local card shows to see when they're running. I know obviously Martin and the team down in Southampton will be getting ready for their show in not too long as well. I know obviously this got social today has got the green light to go ahead, which will be in a couple of weeks. It's not in too far away. I think it's about a month's time, but obviously, there we go. Look, he's got all the dates off his head. But obviously, coming off the hype of the London card shows will be popping again. But by the time you even think about it, it'll be 3 months down the line, the next London card show. But what a weekend.
Yeah, I couldn't say a bit myself. I enjoyed seeing everyone. It was a pleasure to be with you and the others. The card shows, like I said before, it's my favourite thing in the hobby. To meet people, to have chats, to speak about football, cardboard, and everything. Just, it's amazing, really, how like something as small as a piece of card can make you like some really great mates.
Oh yeah, I was just saying. And on that philosophical answer from Lav, let's go and then we're going to hang that one in the Louvre. That's an absolute perfect plan. Might even get that on the back of a T-shirt for the next London card show. But obviously, yeah, again, a massive thanks to the lovely guys over at Third Down Displays for sponsoring and powering up this episode of the Top Loader podcast. So no matter whatever your hobby needs, or I stocked up on all my hobby needs this weekend. I've got sleeves, top loaders, you name it, I've got it. Custom card stands. I think there's a new few designs that I'm going to be working on very soon. So go and check them out. Make sure as well you use TTP10 at checkout for 10% off everything. If you're heading to a car show, you can even use it in person at a car show, which is just fantastic. But I hope everyone who enjoyed the London Car Show had a fantastic weekend. We can't wait to see you at another show, but don't wait too long. Reach out, drop us a message, have a chat in between. But I hope everyone is doing well, staying safe, buying, selling, trading, and all that good jazz. But most importantly, happy hobbying and good night.